Hello, this is Ramdas. Andrew Sullivan, um, in Time magazine, did an article about faith. And he had tracked Iranian president who spews very hateful things. But Mr. Sullivan described his smile, his eyes, calm, his expressions at ease, his face at peace, totally serene. And Mr. Sullivan said, all of this due to his faith and his trust in God. And he could be calm saying the things he said. Then in the article, in the further point of the article, he quoted President Bush, who said, "My faith frees me to make the decisions that others might not like, frees me to enjoy life and not worry about what comes next." An article about faith in Newsweek describes the president as one whose intuitions have been vetted by the creator of the universe. Or at least he thinks that himself. In that article, it points out President Bush was speaking to a small group in 1995, and he said, "I believe God wants me to be president." These images chill my blood because I have used the word faith in my sadhana, in my lectures, in my writings. And it feels that they are using faith different than I'm using faith. Since I met Neem Karoli Baba, my guru, he showered me with grace, which I have experienced because of my faith. When I get my teachings that help me in my path towards enlightenment, I experience that grace. When I help other souls on their journey to God, I experience that grace. When friends and Savites help me with worldly matters, house and food, I experience that grace. When something reminds me of God or Guru, I experience that grace. When I'm able to love people, Maharaj-ji said, Ramdas, love people, love everybody. And that's a tall order. But I can fulfill that, and then I can feel the grace. When I'm able to play my role in society, it's another thing that gives me experience of grace. Where did my faith come from? People in the West take their faith from authority, like as the Pope, or scriptures, the Torah, the Gospels, the Quran, or personal experience. In Hinduism, they say that God, Guru, and Self are the same thing. But once I could hear the Guru, my faith, which is a heart matter, just as belief is a mind matter, the unconditional love that Neem Karoli Baba showered on me was one of the things that made my faith still strong. He was further up the mountain than I was, so that I could hear an example of how he knew everything was my bus story. When I visited the first time and I met Maharaj-ji, he said at the end of it, "You come back in 2 years." And so I came back in 2 years and I couldn't find him. So I went to a meditation course in Bodh Gaya. There are about 60 people. All I could think about was finding Maharaj-ji. So I decided I couldn't meditate. A girl next to me said she also wanted to find Maharaj-ji. And she had a friend who had a bus. And maybe we'd take the bus and go looking for Maharaj-ji. Well, rumors abounded in the meditation course, and 25 of us decided to go on the bus. Some of them making the last minute decision. We headed for Delhi. It was a straight road to Delhi, and we found that we got ice cream and soft beds in Delhi, which for meditators is yum, yum, yum. And Danny Goldman came up the front of the bus and he said, why don't we go the right, because that'll take us to Allahabad, and that's where the Kumbh Mela is held. It's the gathering of saints. And I said, well, didn't the Kumbh Mela happen? He said, yeah, but it would be nice to be in the place where that happened. The confluence of the rivers there. And he went back to sit down, and should we go for the ice cream, or should we go to look at a site where a subplace that's holy? Go to some place holy versus the ice cream cone, holy versus the ice cream. And I was deciding that. And finally the bus driver said, do we take a right or do we go straight? And so I said, we'll go right. Just like making a decision. We went right, and we came to this big field, all covered with sand. Few people walking around, and Danny Kipway said to the bus driver, we can go that way because there's a Hanuman temple there. And we started that way. And Rameshwar Das, who was in the back of the bus also, he said, there's Maharaj-ji. I was very high seeing him. We got all out, and we touched his feet, and he said, come, follow us. They were he and his devotee, Dada, were in a rickshaw. So the big bus followed the little rickshaw. Where we were going, nobody knew. He had not told me not to bring anybody, and here I was with all these people. We went in smaller and smaller streets, and we came to Dada's house. And his wife, Didi, emerged from the house, and she said, we've been expecting you. She said, Maharaj-ji wakened us at 6 this morning to tell us we were going to have 25 people for lunch. There were 24 of us and the bus driver. He wakened them at 6 o'clock. And I was making the decision at 10 o'clock. I was making my decision. And from that day on, all my decisions they weren't my decisions at all, because he was in the background. Making them for me or something like that. That's the kind of a story that I got from being with him. It made me have faith in him. You can see a story like that makes me confident that his grace will color my intuitions. I feel that these intuitions, these experiences of grace have to be dealt with humility. I have to interpret our experiences of grace. We have to interpret with doubt. That is, for example, when my stroke happened, doubt shook me. It shook my faith. And that period of doubt took me away from God. It was a cold period it was like my life before my faith. I couldn't imagine that my guru would stand by and let me be a stroke victim. He might have been out to lunch or someplace. And I, here, before the stroke, I was tremendously graced. And then the stroke. And stroke, His grace. Stroke, His grace. Stroke, grace. And all in that time, I was so without the feeling of grace. And the feeling of grace was dependent on my faith. The stroke had taken away my faith, and it was so cold. I was without faith, and finally I said, fierce grace was the way I solved it. I felt He was letting the grace of the stroke happen, and as time went on, I saw that the stroke had some grace, but about a week ago, a fellow said he had just come back from India, where he was with Siddhima, who was she took care of Maharaj-ji's temples, and he left her with great powers. And Siddhima told this fellow, she said, Ram Das's stroke could have killed him. And only his faith saved him. Yeah. My faith rewards me because I keep in touch with Maharaj-ji in my daily life. He's a very wonderful friend travel life's byways with. From the examples I gave of the presidents, I see that humanity is fallible in the way it's using its faith. It is a lesson that those of us that direct our lives by our faith should heed.